Hey y'all, Johnny Mullet here with another update on the bus build. I wanted to share with you my camping experience we had over the weekend. It was Memorial Day weekend. We took this bad boy out camping and we had a great time. We did have a couple issues and I do want to share those with you. It's a very hot and humid day. What the hell is that? Look at that. $5. I'm taking it. So I just found $5 in the driveway. That's pretty cool. Somebody must have been here over the weekend. Lost some money. I don't know. I'll take it. I'll ask the old lady when she gets home. But anyway, here we are inside the bus. First thing you might notice is we got our cushions from the Amish upholstery shop. He did an absolutely beautiful job on these cushions. This material is called Krypton. It's a very, very good material, and I tell you what, over the weekend camping, I spilled a little bit of pasta salad somewhere in this area here, and you can't even tell. Just a wet paper towel, dab it a few times, and can't even tell there was a stain there. But here, I wanted to share with you a couple little issues we had. The first issue was the refrigerator. Now, when we got ready to go camping, the old lady went ahead and she packed the refrigerator. And what she did was she put a gallon of milk and a gallon of water here. That was too much weight in the door, and the door popped open while I was driving towards the campground. And we had lots and lots of traffic. I could not stop and pull over anywhere. And for 40 minutes, that refrigerator was open. So when we got to the campground, my voltage was really, really low. So what I did is I went and checked, and I was like down to like 11.9. As you see right now, we're okay. And I was like, oh boy, that's not good. And so I rearranged the refrigerator and made sure, that wasn't going to happen again, because I drove this bus to work a couple times, and we drove it to the store and filled up with fuel, and we never had that door open up on us. But yep, it happened. So lesson learned, don't put no weight in the refrigerator door. And the other issue we had was when we first got to the campground, I put about 15-20 gallons in the water tank. And when we got to the campground to do some dishes, I turned on the old water pump switch and I tried out the sink. I turned the water on. I was like, all right, look at that. We got water. And then I shut it off, and all of a sudden I heard this, and there was water spraying underneath the sink. So I quickly shut everything down, and I looked, and what happened was one of my hose clamps back there failed. So I took care of that problem. I had to adjust the pressure on the pump, and now the water system is working flawlessly. We got to test everything out. The stove, we used the stovetop. We cooked some baked beans. The second night we were there, we actually baked some brownies in the oven. No problems with the stove. The refrigerator, minus the door popping open on the way there, worked flawlessly. No problems. Everything stayed nice and cold. As you see, it's pretty warm in here. It's 90 degrees right now. And definitely no rain in the forecast. The barometer's starting to rise. The humidity, yeah, we're about 55%. But anyway, all in all, we had a wonderful time camping. I also got these here. You can put your cell phone in here, remote controls, and whatever you need. And they worked out pretty nice. I got those on Amazon, made by Total Mount. Pretty cool. I also brought the DVD player so we could watch some movies just in case I didn't have a TV signal. And we didn't. Where we were, we didn't have any Wi-Fi. We didn't have hardly any cell service. But we did have a 20 amp plug-in that we could use. I wanted to refuse to use the plug-in, but let's get to story time and I'll talk about it. Okay, everybody, it's the moment we all been waiting for. It's story time. Uh, our camping weekend was actually an awesome experience. First thing I want to do is I want to give a shout out to Living Zeal. Their YouTube channel is Living Zeal, and they also have a website, livingzeal.com. And one of their recent videos, they talked about this Ryobi fan. This little fan is awesome. It's an 18-volt fan that you can just plug your normal battery power pack for your drill or your cordless whatever. I have two of these. And you can also plug in 110 volt, which is sweet. And for sleeping at night, this thing really came in handy. It moves a lot of air. You plug your battery in. You got two speeds. You got low and you got high. And she moves a lot of air. I mean, it's a great little fan. We like it. I'm glad I got it. Thank you, Living Zeal, for sharing that. Great little fan. I highly suggest getting one of these, especially if you have Ryobi tools with the 18 plus system. And if not, you can still plug it in and use it in, 110 volt. And let's share my camping experience with you guys. All in all, we had a great time. We did have a couple issues. The two issues we had basically was the refrigerator door popped open, and the whole drive, it was like 40 minutes to get there at the state park. And what happened was my voltage dropped very low. It was like 11.9 volts when we got to the campground because that refrigerator was open the whole time and it really sucked the juice out of my batteries. And when we did get there, it was cloudy, overcast, it was humid, and we didn't have a whole lot of sun. So I figured, I want to try this out for boondocking. We're just going to let everything go. So, through the day, we used the lights, we used the fantastic fan. That thing ran all night, all day. A 12 volt fan for sleeping. And the first night there, all night long, everything worked great. The voltage on the meter, by the time we got up in the morning, was like 11.5. It's like, wow, we got some low voltage. So the old lady went ahead and she wanted to make a pot of coffee. So we plugged the 110 volt coffee pot into the power strip, and as soon as she turned it on, I watched the voltage drop 11.4, 11.2, and by the time we got like 3/4 of the way brewed, 10.9, the power inverter started beeping and shut down. So I was like, oh boy, this is not good. We sucked too much juice with the coffee pot because I already had a depleted battery system at the time. So I refused to plug in because, I'm a hardhead. I wanted to test my system out, but in order to enjoy camping, they had a 20 amp service. I ran a cord through my hatch. I unplugged the refrigerator from the power inverter and plugged it direct into the shore power. And that next day, the sun was shining. Everything recovered. The batteries fully recharged. We were good to go. So there was that incident. And the other incident I told you about the water system, that was my fault because I'm using vinyl tubing. And the vinyl tubing is rated at 90 psi burst, 30 psi working pressure. My pump was set at 60 psi. I used fuel injection clamps, and I thought they would be great for the build, to clamp the hoses because, they completely wrap the hose, but when I tightened them down all the way until they literally bottomed out, I could still turn the clamp, with a little force. And I thought, it's probably going to be okay. My bad, it wasn't okay. When I turned that water system on and tried it out, I was excited. Hey, we got water, and then boom. I got all the water cleaned up. It wasn't a whole lot. I had a little puddle underneath there. The bucket actually caught a lot of it because I had the hose on top of the bucket just in case. I went through my toolkit and I got regular worm clamps. And I replaced both of the clamps under here at the sink connection. And I lifted up the bed, crawled under there where the water pump was, and I replaced those two clamps with worm clamps. And I turned the pressure down on the pump to like 30 psi. I'm guessing. I turned the pump down, and it's worked flawlessly ever since. I'm glad, everything worked there. So It's a little trial and error. It's a good thing that, I was able to test out the electrical system. I was able to test out the water system. And whatever minor fails we had, I was able to resolve them, and we didn't have a problem. These cushions are very comfortable. You can actually sleep on this thing with no problem. Very nice. I'm glad the guy got them done before we went. He got them done Friday, and we left Saturday for camping. So, good thing. Otherwise, we would have been sitting on OSB. It wouldn't have been the most comfortable thing, but we had a backup plan. I was going to take our outdoor cushions from our outdoor furniture and use them, but this worked out good. We got to watch TV, but we couldn't pick up any TV signal. Like I said, we had no Wi-Fi, barely any cell service, and we couldn't pick up any TV stations where we were because we were too far from Erie, too far from Youngstown, too far from Cleveland. I tried putting the antenna on the roof. We still couldn't get any stations. So I plugged the DVD player into the power inverter and we watched movies. So we were able to entertain ourselves with the radio, some movies. We had all the light we could ever need. And, everything worked good. We had no problem. Sleeping at night, it was a little humid and it was a little hot. The old lady wants an air conditioner on the roof for the bedroom, so we can close off that door and keep the bedroom air conditioned. I don't blame her. Happy wife, happy life. That's what they say. So, down the road, I'm probably going to invest in a rooftop air conditioner to keep her happy. But the whole time I slept, I didn't have a problem with this Ryobi fan, and plus I had another 12-volt fan that I plugged into the outlet, and we just clipped it on the door. I was comfortable. I mean, it was 80 degrees, 85 degrees through the day, and it got down to like 65 overnight. It was a little humid, but I slept all night. I mean, it was comfortable. The campground we stayed at had flushable toilets, so we didn't want to use the portable toilet right away. That's why we chose a campground. This way we could use the flushable toilets. So, that's a good thing. I didn't feel like cleaning that thing. It's all right. All in all, we had a great time. And the whole time we were there, man, we had, I think, 10 to 15 people stop and want to see the inside of the bus. And we did a lot of bus tours. Everybody was blown away. They absolutely loved it. Actually, the campground hosts came down in a golf cart, and they wanted to see the bus too because they never had a bus conversion at their campground before. And they absolutely loved it. And besides the people that came in and actually toured the bus, where we were parked, we were backed into a spot, and people were driving by, or riding bicycles, or walking very slowly to look through the windshield, to look inside the bus. Basically, the bus was the talk of the campground, and it got a lot of attention. I've talked to 30 or 40 people just, talking about the bus, talking about the cost, talking about the conversion, which is, that's another thing I wanted to talk about was how much did it cost? How much was this conversion? Well, I paid $2,500 for the bus. That was the initial purchase. And in the last 6 months of building the bus, I think we put another $11,500 into it. So, we got about $14,000 into the bus build so far. And that also includes the materials that we have to paint the bus. And so to get the bus from a school bus to a livable, usable camper, $14,000. And like I said, all new materials. There's hardly any recycled materials in here. We had the solar system, the batteries, the TV. A lot of stuff was expensive the initial build. I could have saved a lot of money by recycling materials, reusing materials, but I didn't want that for the build. And the new refrigerator, that was another large purchase. The power inverter, I had to have a pure sine wave inverter to run the refrigerator, another expensive purchase. I could have did this a lot cheaper, but I didn't want cheap. Basically, I'm not rich. We don't have money falling out our ass. Except in my driveway, I got money falling out there. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, basically, I've been wanting to do this for about a year. And I started saving money and putting money away. to do this bus build. And the initial purchase, $2,500 plus the paperwork and so forth, that got us started. And we still had some money in the bank to get the big purchases that I ordered on Amazon, the solar system and a lot of the stuff that we were going to need. And then as the savings started to dwindle, what we decided to do is I work full time, the old lady works part time. We put money aside. Every week we put $100 to $200 to $300, whatever we could afford for the bus build. And then after a few weeks, we go make some purchases and we continue building the bus. So it worked out good. So here we are at this point with a totally usable, totally livable camper and not a whole lot of money. I mean, you think about it, you buy a used gas-powered RV, you're looking at about the same price. You get a diesel RV, you're looking, and I'm talking used, you're looking at double the price or more. Trying to find a diesel RV, you're looking at, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for a used unit. So all in all, I think we did a great job here, and we're not done. We are totally not done. We got a long way to go. I'm actually starting to save more money because I want to build the rear rack. I want to build the cargo rack, the toolboxes and so forth. And I think with our experience that we had camping over the weekend, the way we're set up right now, we're perfect for recreational use. No problem there. But for full time, I think I want to double my solar system and double my battery bank. It's better to have more than enough than not enough. And where we're at right now, we have just enough. So I think it would be a good idea to double my solar system and double my battery bank. Down the line, we don't have to do that right now. We have time. So that's going to work out good. It's been hot and humid here. It's in the 80s, pushing 90 degrees. I got my hair cut. Nope, I didn't lose the mullet though. It's still there. So I only got a half a haircut. But we had a great time camping. I mean, absolutely wonderful time. So enjoyable. I mean, minus, hey, we got a lot of interruptions because people were curious. They wanted to see the bus build. But all in all, it was such a wonderful experience. We spent a lot of time outside the bus, which brings me to another purchase. I want to get an awning. I think it would be a good idea to get an awning. So when we're outside the bus, instead of finding a shade tree, we can be right outside the bus with an awning. Keep us cool. Through the day, I'm not going to lie, it was hot in here. Okay, if it was, 85 degrees outside with the sun beating on the bus, I'm not going to say the ceiling was hot because even right now, it's cool to the touch and the sun's shining on it right now. But it was about 5 degrees hotter inside the bus than it was outside. So, we did spend a lot of time outside. But when we had the fan on, the windows on the shaded side of the bus open, and these blinds that I made, when you double these up and you block off the sun on the side where the sun is beating in, what a huge difference it made. I mean, it made an absolutely huge difference on the heat coming into the bus. So the other half of these blinds I have in the closet, they came in handy because when the sun was shining on this side of the bus, we doubled the blinds up and we blocked this side off and we opened the opposite side with the fan. We were comfortable. The windshield is an issue. So I do want to probably get those car or truck windshield shades, those reflective shades. That'll make a big difference inside the bus. And of course, when I go ahead and do the roof with that Henry's Tropicool, that's going to make another difference. The rooftop air conditioner, yeah, I think we'll get one. Happy wife, happy life. Like I said, I'll get one mounted back there in the bedroom. Keep it cooler for her. And of course, it's only going to work when you're plugged in. If you're boondocking, you're traveling, you're not going to be able to use the air conditioner, but at least when you're sleeping at a place where you can plug in, you can enjoy the comforts. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind it. I'm good with that. But everything worked flawlessly, even with all the power consumption we had going on. Because I'm not going to lie, my wife is sort of an energy hog. I mean, she had a lot of lights on. The fan was on full blast. She had the other 12-volt fan on full blast. You know, the TV was on with the movies playing, even when she wasn't inside the bus. You know, she was outside and all this stuff was on, and I kept going in behind her and shutting stuff off, but the system worked great. We had no problems, minus the initial issue with the refrigerator door. And after the batteries recuperated and we plugged back in, everything's fine. Everything's good to go. So, you know, the water system, another test, everything worked out great. So we had a wonderful time camping. We're back home now, and I took an extra day off work to recuperate from camping. I'm not going to say it wasn't, you know, relaxing, because we did have a relaxing time, but after getting home, you know, we had to get everything out of the bus, you know, empty out the refrigerator. I still got the refrigerator on, so I just want to make sure it's good. You know, it's been running for 5 days now on the power inverter with the solar system with no problem. So, except for that, like I said, the initial problem with the door that stuck open. But all in all, I'm very, very happy with the build. Very satisfied with the way everything turned out. And I know right now I'm kind of rambling on, so I don't want to bore you guys too much. But I just wanted to share with you our experiences camping. We had a great time. And before we actually went camping, I went ahead and replaced those lights with these LED camping lights. You just turn on the cabin lights and you leave these off. And then when you need a light, you flip one way for one, the other way for two. So that worked out good. We did not paint the ceiling yet. We're getting there, I promise. But anyway, thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.